here with a fun video. Can you guess by how I'm dressed? You could probably also guess from the title. Today we are going to do a little thing that I like to call actually reading my book subscriptions. And in today's video, we're gonna be actually reading our book of the month books. There's no more fun time of the month than when you click on the book of the month app and the new books for the new month are in there, ready for you to select, ready for you to pick, ready for you to go. And then you get your book and you're so excited, you put it on your shelf and then you don't think about it again. I'm victim of it, you're victim of it. I know we're all victim of it. I went so far as to dress up like my book of the month box with my white ribbons, my only blue shirt that I own, and we are gonna do it. I will be honest, of the 3 books we're gonna read today, only one of them was actually in one of my book of the month subscriptions. The other 2 I got used, but they're still book of the month books that we should probably get read, get them off the shelf of doom, and get them read. So what are the 3 books? We'll go over the one that's actually from my subscription. This is my November 2024 pick, and it is P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connolly. And this is an enemies to lovers situation, I believe. Maddie's older brother died, and his dying wish was for her and his best friend to go on this like road trip together to do something, and they do not like each other, and over the course of whatever they're doing, I'm assuming they're gonna fall in love. I don't really know. Then we have a book that I got at Half Price Books that I had regretted not getting in my book of the month. This one just says contemporary fiction, so I don't know when or what month this was from, but it is a thriller called Bye Baby by Carola Levering, and this is about a woman named Billy and her best friend Cassie live in the same apartment building, and her daughter is missing. So it's something regarding that, so we will get into that. Then the one I'm most excited for, I took a little break from book of the month, I will admit. I felt myself not reading the books, so I needed to take a break, and I did, and I got down to only having like 5 or less on my shelf that were either from my subscription or from getting used. I do live near a lot, like probably 5 or 6 Half Price Books, so I do tend to pick up a lot of book of the month books there, but I had like very few left on my shelf, so I was allowed myself to re-sign up, but I was really bummed that I missed this one book. And one of my bestie pals, Christy, hey girl if you're watching, she was sending me some books, and she's like, well, I don't plan on rereading this, because I gave it 5 stars, but I don't plan on rereading it because I don't really like to reread thrillers, so I'm gonna send it to you. And that is Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. Josh Malerman is the same person who wrote Bird Box, which I do have that book and I have not read it. This book is about an 8-year-old, and there's Mommy, Daddo, and Grandma Ruth, but there's also Other Mommy, a malevolent entity who asks her every day, can I go inside your heart? When horrifying incidents around the house signal that Other Mommy is growing tired of asking Bella the question over and over, Bella understands that unless she says yes, her family will soon pay. And I've heard this is creepy, I heard this is amazing, and everybody I know has given this like 5 stars. So I am very much so looking forward to this. We'll probably do this read the romance in the middle and bookend it with the thrillers. I don't know which order we're gonna go in yet, but I do like to separate my genres so I don't get burnt out by anything. So these are the books that we are gonna read in today's video. Okay guys, I'm so excited! I've been like so ready to get done with my previous video that I was filming. Are we zoomed in? Why are we so zoomed in? So that we could get started on this, and I'm hoping to read this whole book today. It's only like 2 something, and this book has super short chapters, like a couple of pages, which is amazing. I'm very intrigued. There is an author's note in the beginning that says the unique format of this book is intentional, left justified for narration and action, indentation for dialogue with spaces between, all in the name of perspective. This story is told by a child. And like this is all, chapter 1 is this long. So like, that's iconic, and I am so ready to get started. I do wish it was dark out. I feel like this would be, it's been like so gloomy and doomy like all week, and so the fact of course that the day I'm gonna read this, it's gonna be sunny out, but I am excited to get started. The thing is I've heard nothing but good things about this. I've only heard people rave about it, but the overall rating on Goodreads is not that high. It's only a 3.6, which is kind of odd because everybody I know gave it 5 stars. So I have a feeling it's gonna be a 4 or 5 for me. Here's to hoping, because I've not had the best reading month. I've been having a lot of 3 stars, which 3 is a fine rating, but like at the end of the year, I want my overall average rating to be above a 4. So we're gonna go get started on incidents around the house after I put laundry away, because I have to be responsible before I can have fun. Hello friends, I am almost halfway through this book. We're on chapter 25. And oh my god, this book is something else. So here we are. Let's see what it looks like. Here we are, almost halfway. Basically, this book is told from the point of view of Bella, the child. I don't think it ever says explicitly how old she is. If it did, I missed that. But basically, Bella has been getting visits. It started out in the night, but now it's just all the time from something in the shadows in the dark that goes by Other Mommy. And Other Mommy keeps asking Bella, can I go into your heart? And Bella keeps telling her no, and yeah. I feel like a lot of the times in these kind of stories, I feel like in a lot of ghost stories or spooky stories like this, a lot of the times, nobody else can see the ghost, but other people can be seeing Other Mommy, and it's spooky, and I'm anxious, and I'm glad it's finally, like, nighttime, because I feel like it's making the vibes much more spooky. So I'm definitely gonna finish this tonight, and I will update you guys with my thoughts probably in the morning. But tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and the husband and I have a little lunch date for Hot Pot, which I'm very much so looking forward to. Okay guys, I did it. I finished this in one day, and I'm giving it 4 stars. So as I kind of mentioned, I loved like the format. It was such a quick read. I feel like realistically it's probably like a 280 page book because there's such little words on each page. But what a fucking trip, man. Oh my god, pretty much everything I said stands. And the reason I gave it 4 stars instead of 5 is because there was these certain parts in the chapters where, like, this isn't really like a spoiler, it's not that important. The like mom or dad would like sit at the end of Bella's bed and like talk, like air their dirty laundry about like cheating and blah blah blah. Well, they thought she was sleeping when really she was awake, and it would be like pages and pages and pages, just walls of text, and it was like not important to the story really. So I thought that was kind of annoying, but otherwise it was really, really good. 4 freaking stars. I just zoomed right on through that. And then next up, we're going to be reading P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connolly. I did see that there's quite a bit of trigger warnings for this, or like things to be aware of on Fable. And I think that there's an author's note in the beginning. This book deals with emotionally difficult topics, including child neglect, verbal and physical abuse, a car accident, suicidal thoughts, miscarriage, loss of a loved one, anxiety, and potentially unhealthy relationships with food. Any readers who have such content may upset them or trigger traumatic memories are encouraged to consider their emotional well-being when deciding whether or not to read this book. I don't have any triggers besides gore, so we are good to go. And this has a really good rating on Goodreads, but nobody that I think only one person I'm friends with on Goodreads has read this. So I'm very excited. Let's go over what it is about. Maddie would be proud to honor her brother's dying wish that she scatter his ashes over 8 destinations that the adventurous 29-year-old never got to visit before he died from cancer. But in his will, Josh assigned her an impossible partner to help complete the mission, Dominic Perry. Seriously, if Maddie wasn't already at her brother's funeral, she'd kill him for this. That's funny. Sure, Dom was Josh's lifelong best friend, but he's also the infuriating man who broke Maddie's heart when she was naive enough to give it to him. But since Dom insists on following the rules and Josh didn't leave much room for Maddie to argue the matter, they embarked together on a series of farewell trips that span thousands of miles, exploring new places and revisiting their complicated history along the way. After a snowstorm leads to a shared bed, Maddie starts to wonder if her brother might be matchmaking from the grave. But when grief reopens old wounds between them, Maddie will need more than Josh's ghostly guidance to trust Dom again. I think this looks like it has pretty short chapters. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, maybe not. Where's chapter 2 start? Very interesting. Like, in the chapters, it's randomly just like Maddie and Dom. So I'm not really sure what that's about. I'm sure I'll figure it out. It looks like there's some letter writing type stuff in here. I'm very much so looking forward to getting started on this. I'm not going to do it today because I literally just read an entire book. But this one is a bit chunkier. Over 400 pages. There's a playlist. We've got Traitor by Olivia Rodrigo, Ghost of You by 5 Seconds of Summer, Anything I've Heard of, Still Into You by Paramore. All You Had to Do Was Stay, Taylor's Version by Taylor Swift. Ghost by Justin Bieber, Love's a Wild Thing by Casey Musgraves. Interesting. It says discussion questions. Maddie loves cheese. Honestly, same girl. But we are gonna start this probably tomorrow. I'm planning tomorrow, like I said, is Valentine's Day, so it'll be fun to read a little romance novel. Going on a date at like 11:30, but other than that, I don't have any plans until game night, which I think is on. Not really sure, but we will read this. I will check in maybe 25 to 50%, somewhere I will check in, okay? Because I don't plan on reading this in one sitting because she's chunky. Today we are finishing, at the very least, P.S. I Hate You. And then I hope to start and maybe get 25% into the third book for this video. I'm reading quite slow. Basically, I forgot, I started this on Friday and I forgot that the next season of Love is Blind came out, so I literally stayed up till 5 a.m. watching all of the new episodes, and then I proceeded to only sleep like 4 hours. Then last night, okay, I am here, as you can see. My Kindle says I'm 41% through, and then I have 3.5 hours left. It's only 11:30, so I definitely will finish this today, and I am really liking it. So in this book, we have our main character, Maddie, and her brother just passed away from cancer, and she's a very toxic mother. Her dad's not in the picture, and she also has a very toxic grandmother. Her mom was always like traveling and basically being an absent parent and left to be like taken care of by the grandmother, who was very condescending, made Maddie feel horrible about herself, so on and so forth. They suck. Her mom's like trying to be an influencer and is like capitalizing on her son literally dying and becoming like social media famous from it, which is mega cringe. But basically at the funeral, there's this guy Dom, and he gathers Maddie, his siblings, Maddie's mom, Maddie's grandma, like a bunch of the people who were close to Dom, or her brother Josh, and he is the executor of the will, and he basically lets everybody know like Josh has letters for everybody. Here they are. Basically the letter to the grandma was like, fuck you, I hate you, and so on and so forth. And Maddie's like, where's mine? He's like, well, actually ours is addressed to both of us. And she's like, what? Because we learned pretty early on that Maddie and Dom, essentially like something happened where they like hooked up, and then didn't, like, he chose this girl Rosaline over her, who he then married. So they open it, and essentially Josh loved to travel, and you can see there's a bunch of puzzle pieces all over the book. That's because he would go on, he was a photographer, and he would go on travels and take pictures of things, and if he really liked a picture, he would get it made into a puzzle and send it to his sister, which is so cute. And he made a lot of money doing that, and he bestowed all of the money to Maddie. And basically he spent so much time traveling outside of the country, he never finished his dream of visiting all 50 states. And so in this initial letter, it's in a big manila folder, is like one letter to read now, and then a bunch of additional envelopes with different states and coordinates on it. And basically, he is sending Maddie and Dom on a trip to 8 different states to spread his ashes in the states that he didn't get to go to. And each state has like a letter, and it's so like, it's literally giving me chills. Like for Maddie, it feels she's having a hard time crying and mourning her brother, and I have a feeling this is going to go in the direction of when they spread the final ashes, she'll finally cry. But it's like a hee ha ha time because she can't stand him. She hates him. She won't give him her phone number. They're communicating through emails. But so far, I'm really liking it. It's already brought me to the verge of tears. It's giving me chills. And I'm quite enjoying it. And I'm very excited to cuddle up in bed and finish this book. So, let's continue with P.S. I Hate You by Miss Lauren Connolly. Also, I hate when the underneath book, like the hardcover, the colors like don't match, and the blue is fine, but I feel like this pink should have been yellow, red, or dark blue maybe, or orange. There's just no light pink on the cover, so it drives me a little bit insane. But let's go and knock another book of the month book off of our TBR. You guys, 5 stars. 5 freaking stars. The amount of crying I have done over the last like 25% of this book is wild. If you are somebody who has experienced grief in your life, I highly recommend this, so long as you are in the right headspace to read it. It does deal heavily with grief, death, and illness, stuff like that, but oh my god, this hit me in all of the feelings, especially given that like we're about a week out from my mom's birthday. And it just, so in this, as I said, we had told you like the synopsis, we continued going through these journeys with Maddie and Dom, and oh my god, their last trip was from Alaska. It was to Alaska, and they read her brother's letter in Alaska, and y'all, it got me good. It got me so good. It got me so good. It was so good. Ugh. Highly recommend. Loved it. Doing great with this video. We've got a 4-star and a 5-star, and now we're going to be going into Bye Baby, which it's classifying this as contemporary fiction, which is kind of weird. The dust jacket says, every friendship has its shadow. On a brisk fall night in a New York apartment, 35-year-old Billy West hears terrible screams. It's her lifelong best friend, Cassie Barnwell, on the first floor, and she's just realized her infant daughter is missing. Billy is shaken as she looks down into her own arms to see the baby, remembering with a jolt of fear that she is responsible for the kidnapping that instantly shattered Cassie's world. Once fiercely bonded by their secrets, Cassie and Billy have drifted apart in adulthood, no longer the inseparable pair that they used to be in their small Hudson Valley hometown. Cassie is married to a wealthy man, has recently become a mother, and is building a following as a lifestyle influencer. She is also desperate to leave her past behind, including Billy, who is single and childless and no longer fits into Cassie's world. But Billy knows the worst thing Cassie has ever done, and she will do whatever it takes to restore their friendship. Told in alternating perspectives, with Loving's signature suspenseful style, Bye Baby confronts the myriad of ways friendship change and evolve over time, and lingering echoes of childhood trauma and the impact of a woman's choice to deepen her relationship. Maybe this isn't a thriller. I'm confused. It was in the thriller department at the store, at the bookstore where I bought it. Because I actually didn't get this one from Half Price Books. I got it from Half Price Books, not from Bye Baby, not from Book of the Month directly. Let's see what Goodreads classifies it as thriller, so I'm confused, but hopefully it's good because we just got a 5-star read. Woo! Hello friends, I feel like I'm reading this book at a gosh darn snail's pace. Yeah, I'm like 92 pages in. This book is reading so incredibly slow. I don't know what it is, but it's not boring per se. It's definitely giving 3-star energy as of right now. But in this book, we have the 2 friends, Cassie and Billy, and they've been friends since they were 12. You get both girls' point of view, and you get flashback chapters. Chapter 1 is, the prologue is December 13th, and it's literally about Billy taking the baby, which you know from the synopsis. And then, oh, I forgot this was in parts. When does part 2 happen? Because I'm like ready for something more entertaining, because I'm honestly quite bored. But basically, then you switch to like 30 some odd days before this happens. Cassie and Billy have started to grow apart ever since Cassie had her baby. She's basically dodging Billy at all times, and Billy is kind of like a crazy obsessed friend, blah blah blah. But oh my god, Cassie is so fucking mean. I hate her. Even in the flashback chapters, she's horrible. And if you are like, my friend Emily loves a book with unlikable characters, so I immediately was like, I found your next 5-star read. Everybody is so unlikable in this, like so fucking unlikable. Everybody's horrible, and yeah, it's kind of where I'm at right now. And right now we're just like, I'm on September 18th, 25 days before the baby gets kidnapped, and it's just like a series of Cassie being mean to Billy, Billy being upset and hurt, Cassie being mean, Billy being upset and hurt. And that's pretty much all that's gone on so far in this first 25%. I'm hoping that I can pick up the pace, but somehow my Kindle says I still have like 5 hours left in this. I'm gonna take a break, I'm gonna take a shower, I'm gonna eat some dinner, and then I guess we'll continue on. I guess today I'm just hoping to get like halfway, and then maybe hopefully get like halfway today possibly, and then finish it up tomorrow. Oh my god, part 2 isn't until over halfway. How many parts is there? But maybe I'll try to get to part 2. And then tomorrow I have plans. I live in Austin. I have plans in Waco, so I'm gonna drive out there, do that, and then maybe finish this tomorrow. That would be like a good plan. And then I do leave for a little trip to Disney this week, but I should be done with this before then, and that'll be the end of this video. So I'm gonna go make a frozen pizza. I'm gonna go put that in the oven before I hop into the shower. Before all that, I'm gonna change the wax in here so it can smell nice while I'm reading this book that's making me a little bit bored. Okay guys, I'm finishing this today. We did make it to part 2 yesterday, and I'm very much so, in this book it looks like it's over 50%, like in the physical, maybe not, but it was like exactly 50%. My oven just preheated. I'm making some biscuits. I don't know, I'm PMSing, and the idea of biscuits with like a ton of butter and jam just sounds so good. But we're gonna read the second half of this today. This book is reading very, very, very slow, and I do think that's because it is giving more literary fiction energy than like mystery thriller, which it says contemporary fiction on the book, but at the store when I bought it, it said thriller, and on Goodreads it says thriller. So it's reading much more like a contemporary fiction book, which is fine, but I tend to read them a lot slower. And we're just going through this story. Finally, we're at the part, because like I mentioned, the prelude is basically like the beginning part of the book about like Billy taking baby Ella. And then we go through all of part 1. It's like the month or so. How far in advance? Like 50 days before she takes the baby. And now part 2 is going to be like what happens after, and I'm very intrigued to see where the story goes from there. And I'm still really liking the flashback chapters, so we're very much so finding out why Billy and Cassie are very like trauma bonded to each other. It's very sad and emotional, but Cassie is like really mean and Billy is really crazy, so it's like very unlikable characters. So if that's your thing, you would love this. It's reading it though, like I'm not excited. I'm excited for it to be over, which is not a feeling I love to have, but it's what we're doing, and it's just like, it's fine. It's very 3-star energy, which is fine, but while I'm reading it, I'm just like ready for it to be done. But like I said, this is on Kindle Unlimited. If you are, I'm not like really selling it, I don't think, but I am reading it on here, and it says that I have focus. 3 hours and 13 minutes left in the book. So there's that. But like, you can tell I'm reading it slow because I typically read, I would say 80 to 100 pages a minute if I'm reading a thriller or a romance. But with this, it's like I'm reading 50 pages an hour. So I'm gonna go pop my biscuits in the oven, and then I'll probably read a chapter while they cook. And then, chapter or two, we'll see. And then I'll watch some YouTube while I have my little mini din-din. And we will check in probably tomorrow with the ending of this video. Okay guys, we did it. We read all of these books. Also, it's kind of crazy when you hold it this way that like I read that many pages, but we did finish Bye Baby. Part 2 was definitely way better than part 1, and the last 25% of the book was like 4 stars. It was very interesting, and there's a lot of discussion about women as like somebody who's gonna be 30 this year and does not want kids, like is child free by choice, is not going to have kids, period. It was very nice to read a book about a woman who's 35 and she does not want kids, and talking about the different ways it's affected her life in relationships, even like with her friends putting pressure on her, and how like her relationship with her family and stuff kind of led her to this decision. And I thought that topic and that like point of conversation was very lovely. But overall, the first 75% of this book was just very much so horrible people doing horrible things, which is for some people. Like my friend Emily, I'm planning on mailing her my copy, and I think she will give this book 4 or 5 stars. I think she will eat up every page of this because she loves a book with unlikable characters. I have read a handful of books per her request. The Collective by Allison Galen, The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chen, The Perfect Ruin, I forget who wrote that one, but all of them are books with very unlikable characters, and those are things she really loves. So I know that this is a book I would still recommend to a lot of people, even if it was not my favorite. And then we have our 4-star read, which was Incidents Around the House by Josh Mellerman, and this book is about a house being haunted. I will say, her calling the dad Dado, I don't know why, but that like actually makes me annoyed. But it was really creepy, and dedication page just says for Finnegan and Elliot for when children see things. It's very creepy, and I loved how short the chapters were. Reading this from like the child's point of view was terrifying. But as I mentioned earlier, the reason I did not give this 5 stars is I don't want to say, but there's like one big thing in like these types of books that I wish would have happened that did not. If you've read it, you probably know what I'm talking about. If not, you can message me and I'll let you know. And there is big parts in some of the chapters where like the parents are just sitting on Bella's bed talking and like confessing all of their sins, and I just did not like those parts. They were quite boring. So due to that, it was 4 stars. And then our 5-star read is P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connolly, and this book just hit me so deeply and dearly. It is very heavy on the grief. If grief is not something you like to read about or something that is not good for your mental health, do not read this book. But it is a topic that I personally really enjoy reading, and I find it comforting to read stories that I can relate to. So I personally loved this, and I gave it 5 stars, and I thought it was incredible. So what does this mean? It means, it's so funny because I do feel like I actually don't tend to rate my book of the month picks that high, but here we have 3 book of the month books. We have a 5, a 4, and a 3, so I would consider all of those good ratings, and because of that, I think book of the month is worth it. So that's everything, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!